Picture standing on the edge of a cliff with one foot hanging off the side. It's a little terrifying, isn't it? We've seen videos of people bungeeing off mountain sides and bridges. Most of us are moved to comment that we'd never do that in a million years. But in reality, that's exactly what life asks us to do every day. It's a skill set, really, jumping off a metaphoric cliff. It's a practice in courage and faithfulness. It sets us apart from those who live their lives in constant anxiety and worry. It is something toward which we might rightfully aspire. Peace and ease with all the changes around us, and a desire to leap from the cliff in hopes that a net will miraculously appear.
We light this chalice in the spirit of increased clarity. We light it as a prayer toward forward momentum, progress, evolution, learning, and accomplishment. We light it because, in one sense, it's all we have, but in another, it's all we need. Blessed be.
I started to see a pattern some years ago. I noticed in various instances that when I made a clear decision about something, a result would be more clearly realized. Back in the mid-90s, while I was living in Toronto, I made a decision. I don't know what prompted me to think of it in terms of a decision rather than a wish, but that's how I framed it in my mind. I was making a decision as a form of prayer, though I didn't recognize it like that at the time. I decided I was going to stop housekeeping and begin earning my living as an actor full-time by my July birthday, which was still several months away. So that was the decision. I was going to be a working actor by my birthday. And then in the meantime, I continued working as a housekeeper. In the weeks and months following the moment I made my decision to start working as an actor full-time, my housekeeping clients started dropping off. This one was going away for the summer and wasn't sure what would be happening when they got back. One was moving, another lost his job, and I was downsized. One might assume that it was all in my mind. Maybe they were all firing me because my heart wasn't in it anymore. Maybe the quality of my work was declining. But several I could confirm were not fabricated, and I never received a complaint. I continued to audition for shows. I got plenty of non-paid gigs. It was the paid ones that were slim to find. But then I auditioned for a children's show and got the gig. Full-time paid job for months. Rehearsals started on my birthday. A week after my last client had actually scheduled his last cleaning. The show was fun and I made a lot of great connections in the local industry. And when that show closed, I became the costume manager for the next show in that same theater, and I didn't even miss a paycheck. In fact, I got a raise and had more fun backstage than most of the shows I'd actually performed in. I remained a steadily working actor for the rest of my years in Canada, producing theater, educational theater, creating a nonprofit, and jobs for other actors. I had everything I needed, and I'm certain it was because I made a decision. Now, we make decisions all the time. What was different about this? I'm not completely sure, to be honest. I think it's something to wonder about, though, because it's happened at other times too. It seems that the character of the decision-making in those moments feels more like making a pact, perhaps, than just declaring a desire. There's a deeper sensation to it, definitely. And I can often trace it back when something I wanted to happen finally occurs to the moment when I had made up my mind about it. I can look back and see how as soon as I truly decided, things over which I had no direct control started to work in my favor toward what I wanted. I think that what we're talking about here is the mechanics of ask and ye shall receive. Part of this comes with a commitment of faith on the part of the one making the decision. Because what we routinely do is we ask for something, and then there must occur a natural waiting period, but then we panic and assume nothing's happening when it just hasn't come into view yet. We give up. We limit ourselves only to the wishes that have a more visible linear connection or stand a chance of happening in a way that we can predict. But the best solutions rarely come in predictable ways, and big mistakes can still happen even with the most careful planning. Security is a superstition, Helen Keller said. My favorite spiritual aphorism is leap and the net will appear. It's terrifying most of the time, and it can freak some people out, but it doesn't make it a wrong way to live. There's a lot of spiritual advice in favor of taking risks and leaping with the full assumption that a net will appear, so long as we do nothing to sabotage it, which requires we remain calm and trust. Keep moving forward. You don't have to lean so far forward that you have to run to keep from falling. Put a little grace and patience into your step. Not only will it make things easier for you, you'll be at greater peace with those who get nervous and are free to hold their hand and calm them, because that will happen. It's an opportunity to show more love. Take it. All of this is predicated on the need to make up your mind. It's the core secret of the golden rule as well, for we must determine how we wish to be treated first if we want to know how to treat others. We must know what it is that we want. We must decide. And that's really hard for most people. Hardly anyone really knows what they want. They know things that they want to happen, things that they want to have, but these are just things we think will make us happy and feel fulfilled. They're the best we can come up with. We spend our psychic energy on wishing for things instead of feelings or experiences. And we think a car will make us feel free, so we wish for a car, believing that that's the only way we'll ever experience freedom. Will we get the car? Depends on how aligned that idea is with your truest intentions deep down. We ask for stuff that we think will make us feel happy and fulfilled because that seems to make more sense to us. It seems more concrete. Well, why not focus on happiness and fulfillment instead? The pathway toward them, meaning the stuff you really need rather than the stuff you think you need, might be very different than you would have imagined. The idea here is to pray less for the car and more for the freedom, if that's what you're really looking for. Do you have the courage to decide and then allow things to unfold? It's hard. You have to wait often until the final hour before a solution presents itself. It's like a game of spiritual chicken. Who's going to swerve first, me or the universe? You know, I love my GPS. It always, or usually always, tells me the fastest way to get where I want to go from right where I am. But generally, I'm only going to know what the next turn is, and then the next. All the rest of the steps necessary to get where I have decided I want to go are relatively unknown to me as I'm driving. I'm too busy paying attention to the road to look ahead and see where the next 10 turns will take me. And if I agree that they're the best route to take, I have to put my faith in the GPS. So now, let's get back to deciding what you want. How do you make up your mind? Because it's fairly important information, certainly to your GPS. You can't tell it to bring you anywhere if you don't decide where you want to go first. And you have to communicate that decision to it in clear and understandable terms by typing it in correctly and using formats like standardized abbreviations, etc. There's an agreement taking place between you and your GPS in that moment. It agrees to do its best, understanding all the options available, to guide you from where you are to where you want to go. You agree to be clear in your decision and to know how to properly describe the destination. You agree to remain calm and place yourself in the hands of something else. It's okay if you don't know what you want in life, but you can decide how you want to feel. That is a destination the universe works with best. And we already know how we want to feel generally. We just spend so little time thinking about it. But how we want to feel is the only format the universe knows how to read when we're using it as a GPS. So how do you want to feel? Fulfilled, respected, useful, appreciated, loved. Is there only one way to have any of those? Then don't ask for only one way by telling the universe how to make you feel it. This is what primarily gets us in the way of manifesting our decisions. We overthink it. I didn't overcomplicate my desire to be a working actor by overdefining how I expected it to all go down. I just decided that I wanted to work, and probably because I didn't have any inner voice telling me it was impossible and thus sabotaging it, suddenly everything moved into alignment, including things over which I could have had no direct control. Decide something. Move toward it, and the universe will do the same. If you need peace, ask for it, and then decide that that's what will happen. Peace will happen. Then watch for how it unfolds. Affirm it for yourself as you see it working. Lean in more. If you need employment, ask for it. Scatter the field with the seeds of your desire. Don't be surprised at what comes up for you. It may be a surprise. It may not look like something you would have thought on your own, or perhaps it wasn't even a result of an application you filled out. Don't resist it. Welcome it, and see where it brings you. We don't usually get a clear understanding in advance of all that we will need to make the transformations we want. We can only see the peak of the mountain in the distance. The valley between is a mystery to us. But select the peak anyway. Picture yourself being there and the feelings that you'll have, and thank the universe for everything it may do toward helping you reach it.
Be at ease now and breathe. Allow the breath to flow in and out without effort. Feel it rush in like water and cool your lungs and heart. Declare this breath sacred, a choice you have made to breathe this air at this time and in this way. There is so much out there, so many options, so many paths. It feels like a massive undertaking just making up our minds. We don't always trust the information that is supposed to help us. Remember to consider your sources. But if you are a person who believes in prayer, or at least believes that when you make up your mind to do something, you'll start living up to it, pray for clarity. Pray for an open path. Pray for understanding. Pray for the best decision to illuminate before you. Make an assumption that the best decisions for you already exist. You have only to recognize them. Make peace with your fear of decision-making. Thank it for its concern and pragmatism, this part of your psyche which stakes its claim upon protecting you. Yet bid your fears hail and farewell. Allow them to evaporate without concern for what shall take their place, merely leaving open the possibility for love and comfort to enter in. This love, this ease, is your guide. It will sit patiently beside you and wait for you to ask it what you should do next. Listen carefully to it and notice your feelings as you ask. Notice your feelings as you are answered. This is your newest and dearest friend. Speak to it and be comforted. Take one final breath and return.